AmandaLand.
60-second headline. And I run down some news right quick.
Run it down, mama. Put us on.
I didn't know I was going to still be dancing when it came in.
You was jamming though. You was jamming.
Listen. Oh, I've been jamming. Let me tell you, I have a quick confession.
Okay.
Ever since I knew this was coming, I've been singing, "You think that you could be racist every single day."
And we won't
All night.
eventually come for you and make
And
you pay.
hey, because you got the wrong words. Hey.
It's a classic. You've been down for a while. If
I've been
you
down for a
singing
minute.
that one. If you
I've been
singing
down
that
for a
one.
minute. Come on, choir. I've been down for a minute.
Just in my apartment by myself.
Just ready.
Y'all, if you don't know, that was a song that I penned after what was her name? Roseanne Barr decided that she was going to be racist on Twitter. And she lost her job because the head of the network was a Black woman and was like, absolutely not. Got her out of here. Got her.
Barbara, get Roseanne's agent on the phone. I can't. I can't. I live by it.
Well,
Foundations.
So when I did my special, when I recorded my special, I Be Knowing, the audience knew the song. Like I be singing. So I just started like singing it and the audience was like,
See, and look, we don't have the same revolutionary songs that we used to. So just put the soundtrack out.
I actually am working on that. I actually had a song come to me last night that I actually sang a little ditty of on the Instagrams, because I am going to put an album out next year. I will put an album out next year.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
how did it go? It was like I forgot what I had actually wrote.
I was listening to her on Patreon. You said something like along the lines of like, why do they hate us or why do they treat us? It was something along the lines of like,
yes,
how yes.
I'm trying to remember the melody, and hold on. Oh, that's what it was. I want to know.
Yes.
What we are hated for. Say, I want to know.
I'm about to come in with the harmony here.
What we are hated. We have too much latency. It's going to drive you crazy. Because we're like a half step behind.
I know.
Now, Brisa, tell the people, because you are a community advocate and artist. So tell us where those things intersect. Tell us about you so that the people can understand who they're hearing from and talking to today.
Absolutely. Well, just thank you so much for the platform. Thank you so much for the space and just the community and the classroom that you continue to create for all of us. Deeply appreciate it. I've learned so much from you, including massive vocabulary. Yay! So thank you. But I'm based in San Diego, California. I've been in the social justice landscape for about 13 years. I started in civic engagement, so largely doing a lot of voter engagement work, GOTV work, voter registration, and really targeting Black and Brown communities, aka a lot of low propensity voters. And then I worked my way over into labor, and I've been doing labor organizing for a while. And now I'm the executive director of the San Diego Black Worker Center. We focus strictly on creating space to address the issues that Black workers are facing, because unfortunately, historically, labor still has a lot of anti-Blackness, and they don't always bring our issues to the forefront. And so we created a table that would address anti-Blackness on the job, discrimination, the lack of quality pay, all the worker rights, but through a lens of Black people, which has been really dope to always be able to go to tables and say, I don't see no Black people here. I don't see no Black people on the agenda. And so where my artistry comes in is I sing. I have a band called The Lyrical Groove, and then I have a solo project, and just creating space where music is a message and it's a vehicle. A lot of times we treat art almost like the anchor to, almost like an accessory to the movement, when music and performing arts is really the anchor of it. And so,
Please.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so really just trying to bring messaging and lyricism back into artistry so that you feel something. Because talking about statistics isn't going to always move people. It actually rarely moves people. And so when you can put it in paint, put it in a song, put it in a poem, it
Comedy.
sits
That's
with
why I'm
people.
doing
Comedy,
the system.
you know, it
Yes.
sits with people differently. So just trying to mend those bridges. And then two, just using music as a place of release. This work ain't easy.
Yeah.
As you know, so just using the artistry as like a vehicle of like, I just need to, and not even escape because I'm still talking about shit, but just, it's not even escape. It's just my own release.
Singing about it does feel different. It's stimming and it's, you
Absolutely.
know, so people in the chat are
And it's
asking like,
freeing.
what are some specific issues that you feel like have faced Black workers that you've had to address?
Oh man, one of the biggest things is wage theft. Ironically, in California alone, more than $2 billion is stolen in wages, minimum wage violations alone. And so there's a huge discrepancy between people just either not knowing the actual laws and then getting their full paycheck, and or of course having employers who are exploiting the process. We find with small businesses, it's a lack of knowledge. It's honestly, they just don't know the employer laws. And of course, with the major corporations, it's an outright stealing of wages, denying breaks, overtime. And then we see largely huge discrepancies in the hiring process. We have data that shows us that they would actually hire a white person with a GED than a Black person with a college degree who's qualified for the position. And so we have...
Because you know, I just did Surrounded where they're like, there's no such thing as racism.
It's so real. I mean, in San Diego alone, obviously that's the base that I focus on, but the numbers are the same throughout the country. Our working class population of Black folks is only 4.4%, and yet we're 9% of the unemployed numbers. Like the math doesn't math ever. And so what's really dope about the work that we do is we actually go in and look at the policies. So we find like a lot of employers that are having a lot of claims against them. We work with an office called the Office of Labor Standard Enforcement, where workers could actually file claims. And there happens to be different offices of this such in different cities. So for viewers out there, check in your city if you have an Office of Labor Standard Enforcement. It would be through your city or county government. And it's an accountability lens to work with the state laws that are happening and make sure that they're being enforced locally. And so we'll get the claims from them and see like who's having multiple offenses, pull up their policy and be able to address some of the anti-Blackness in their policy. Now, some of the smaller businesses are obviously willing to work with us to create stronger employee handbooks and policies that make it more accessible for workers. And then there's others who will never take our call. But it doesn't mean we don't call them out and keep pushing and applying pressure where we can. So,
you know what, as a person who had, and I didn't have employees, I had contractors, but nonetheless, it was still, you know, a small business. Like so much of the small business process is just trying to do a business, right? Like you're just like trying to like get something going, but you don't realize that, yes, however, there's formality that does have to take place to protect everybody, right? And not just protect
absolutely
of like against a lawsuit, but more so to protect people against confusion, you know, to protect people against frustration, etc. Like I had to learn over the course of time how to be a better business owner by just being getting more knowledge, because I also had never worked as an employee in like a company, like in a big way. Like I had worked like retail, you know, and I had worked as like a hostess, and I was, you know, young. So, you know, you come in and they're like, yeah, over there.
Yeah.
Go over there. And just fold those jeans right. But they also don't give you the handbooks, or, you know,
They don't. And I didn't even know until I started doing this work that it's illegal for them not to provide you an employee handbook. So off the gate, first day hiring, a lot of them are messing up and we don't even know it. And easily, like, And I just think about the advocacy skills that it takes when you're in that space of like survival as well. So like someone who's working and who's deep in their survivor mode and they're working 1-2 jobs and a side hustle, like they're not paying attention to like, oh, I was denied this 15-minute break, I wasn't paid this time. Like they are just going, they are just trying to figure it out.
Yes.
And so like that's why these entities like worker centers, employee rights centers, community organizers like are so crucial, because they get to do the work so that you can just stay going, because you can't pause. You can't pause.
You can't.
And we don't, you know.
We're trying to make it, girl. We're trying to get it.
You know,
and now it's even harder. So because we have people like the Trump administration, not just Donald Trump, but the Trump administration, who are in power. And our bonus question today, I was kind of late starting, so I didn't get to say our bonus question at the top of the show. But today's bonus question is, what would you do? What will you do when Trump expires? Now, some of y'all took that way too serious. I just be like, can y'all just enjoy anything? Damn. Okay. Even Aunt Frank had a crush while she was hiding in an attic. Let me just tell y'all something. We'll never really know if her crush was actually fine. But because like when you're in a confined space, like you just make it work. Just a side note, when I was shooting Insecure, every season I would find a set crush. At the end of the season, I would realize that's not a fine man right there. That's not. But this is where we at all day. So I'ma just let that work for me. And just by the way, one time, Jonely actually went and told the set crush that I was interested in it.
That's not the point of the crush. It's kind of like, but it's the same as social justice. Like you'll have a crush on someone because they speak in that talk. Like you'd be like, "Oh, you had me at fuck the system," and then you actually like see them in person. You're like, "Ooh, it had to be the words. It had to be the words," because
that happened to me with a social justice person in real life. It was the words, and then when I actually got to know him, I was like, "Oh wow,
yeah,
you're not."
Every time.
Guy. Let's get focused. Let's get focused, Brisa. We hanging out.
It ain't catfish. It's actifish. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Someone said Jesse Williams. I heard Jesse Williams hasn't been talking about Palestine lately. Like he stopped. The last time I saw Jesse was at a Palestine, at a film screening about Palestine. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but I hope we didn't lose Jesse. That's a fine man, a very fine man, and very nice. All right, let's go. USA takes out a Venezuelan boat. Now, Brisa, these people really want a war in any shape, way, or form. Let's check this out.
The presence was very clear, and that is we destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are.
Did you expect those operations to continue?
I think as long as those vessels are in the region and as long as the president's in the White House, he's made very clear he's not going to allow the United States to continue to be flooded with cocaine and fentanyl and other drugs coming from different places.
Si Venezuela fuera agredida, pasaría inmediatamente al periodo de lucha armada en defensa del territorio nacional y de la historia y del pueblo de Venezuela.
So that was the president of Venezuela saying, "Hey, check this out, famo. If y'all come through here, we're going to turn up." But they did come through there. So are y'all about to turn up? What are your thoughts? Because they basically just took out a boat in international waters.
Absolutely. I mean,
and made up a whole story that it's narcos.
And I think that's what, like, this is what's extremely dangerous, is people are thinking that this is like an international issue that doesn't impact them. And they don't realize that Venezuela is allies with Russia, with Iran, with China.
You better talk
they've
about
already been
war.
part of they've already been part of strategic alliances. And what we are doing is absolutely unhinged. It is completely against international law. And we've already been breaking international law in Palestine. But if international law, it can't be held, then no law can be held. And that's what I don't think people fully grasp, is that like, this is beyond an open floodgate, an open door to some serious atrocities. But we're a target, and we're so much a target at this point because of what we've done, that I wouldn't even be upset at the retaliation.
No,
I would understand it.
I would
I
understand
would
it.
understand it.
You know, they
I would
also want
understand
oil.
it. Exactly. And that's the other thing. This is why it is so important to know your history and to understand the landscape, because the cocaine that is predominantly brought in to the United States doesn't even come from that part of the region.
No.
So like, strategically, it doesn't even make sense to be there. So there's no strategic reason. And of course, all this allegedly, we can't trust the man who ain't been honest from day one, the government who ain't been honest from day one. Nothing they say is truthful. So this is just a blatant attack, and the world knows that, and Venezuela knows that. And we have just put ourselves more in a position of ultimately, yes.
The line of fire. You know what?
Absolutely.
I saw someone else say, and it's like, oh, they said it very plainly, but it was like, yeah, they said Donald Trump's administration has just said with their actions that they are judge and jury to folks in another country, and that they can enact the death penalty, because it's not like this boat was firing on the United States. It's not like they know necessarily where this boat was not it was not in US waters. It was not on US land. So the fact that this is literally just attacking a boat, we're seeing the incredible disintegration of international law, like now in the Western hemisphere. So it was one thing for y'all to see it over there in Israel and be like, damn, that's crazy. This is right here. And for all my Caribbean people, Venezuela is like, you could look to the left from Trinidad and see Venezuela. So but the proxy war aspect of it is the part that I think a lot of people don't think about, that, you know, there's allyships that exist beyond the United States, and countries like Venezuela are allies with countries that the United States has actively considered to be a quote unquote enemy. So well, speaking of boats, the Summud Flotilla is heading to Gaza. And I'll tell y'all more about that. But first, let's take a look at Tiago. We had Thiago, sorry, I was corrected. Thiago Avila was on the show before he left for the Summud Flotilla, and let's see him on the boat.
We are now around 8 to 9 hours away from the Balearic island of Menorca, and we spotted a few drones above our vessels. We know that a mission like ours, spotting drones, is an alert situation, because 4 months ago our boat was bombed by 2 Israeli drones between Malta and Italy, and something that concerns us, because we are a humanitarian, non-violent mission that aims to break the siege and create a humanitarian corridor for the Palestinian people in Gaza that have been suffering many decades of genocide, 18 years of illegal siege, and have been living through famine, through so many violations. So it's very disturbing that a mission that is completely legal according to international law would suffer this type of criminalization, this type of attempt to intimidate, and we will not bow to that.
So next, I'm going to show you a video of, this is the head of the Dock Workers Union in Genoa, Italy, and he is addressing everybody who has gathered to see the Summud Flotilla leave. And y'all know I like y'all to hear people speaking in their native language. So we're going to let him talk, and then I will tell y'all who are listening on the podcast what he said. Also, it's always good to hear Italian.
Intorno a metà settembre queste barche arriveranno vicine alla costa di Gaza e arriveranno nella zona critica. Se noi soltanto per 20 minuti perdiamo il contatto con le nostre barche, con i nostri compagni e le nostre compagne, noi blocchiamo tutta l'Europa. E me lo sono scritto qua così non mi dimentico. Insieme al nostro sindacato USB, insieme a tutti i lavoratori portuali che ci stanno, insieme a tutta la città di Genova, Da questa regione escono 13-14 mila container all'anno per Israele. Non esce più un chiodo. Lanceremo lo sciopero internazionale, bloccheremo le strade, bloccheremo le scuole, bloccheremo tutto. Si devono ridare indietro i nostri ragazzi e ragazze senza un graffio e tutta questa merce che è del popolo, che sta andando al popolo, fino all'ultimo cartone deve arrivare dove deve arrivare. Altre cose non ci sono da dire.
I want y'all to know that they do say there's a lot of racism in Italy, and I would not even probably notice it because I would be listening to them be racist, but with a dope accent. They could be saying the worst things to me, and I'd be like, say it again. They're like, go back to Africa, you ape princess. And I'm like, so Brisa, tell me, first of all, I want y'all to know that the Summud Flotilla is the 39th flotilla to make its way to Gaza. And this is a different vibe. Remember, we had Thiago on here talking about that this is a lot of boats. It's not just one. There are several boats, small boats that are moving as a fleet of small vessels. They're coming from ports across the Mediterranean. It looks like we have someone actually in the chat who is a delegate of the flotilla from Tunisia. And there's 44 different countries that are being represented here. So, you know, what do you think about this? Especially as a union worker, we just saw the dock worker, the head of the dock workers union in Genoa saying, as a union, if we lose sight, if we lose connection from the flotilla for even 20 minutes, we will shut down this whole dock. They got mad stuff coming from this dock going to Italy, going to Israel, and we will cut it off because we're not playing with y'all. So what do you think about all of this?
This is what excites me, because this is the innovation and the revolution that we need, because labor is literally one of the strongest arms that we still have. And it's the only way that we can continue to hold the line. Like, people need to realize, and I know a lot of them do, especially a lot of your viewers, moving on a moral ground is never going to move people. Like, doing it because it's the right thing to do, doing it because you know, you go in there with your sob stories, like, they know the data, they know the facts, they know the heartfelt stories. They don't care. They're never going to move out of morality. They're only going to move if you pressure them economically. That's the only time we've ever seen massive change in the United States historically. And it's the only thing that gets workers the contracts, the pay, the better wages, the better work environments, is when they withhold their labor. And it's a lot, but it's possible and it's doable. And I think too many unions and labor leaders have said, well, it's too much right now. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of resources. And then you've got people like what we just watched, the dock workers, who are like, no, we are withholding. We are closing down the ports. We are withholding the labor. And it's like all the money that labor is willing to spend on elections, you could easily create a fund, a mutual aid fund, and secure workers' pay for 2-3 months and hold the line. You think that if you didn't withhold labor for 2 weeks, that they're not going to make a move immediately? And so I love this because it sets the tone and puts the power back to the people. And it shows the power of the working class families.
Yeah. And that's what I feel like is so understated here in the United States. Like, they've really done a great job of just convincing people that they are powerless, that they don't have any information or anything to add.
Absolutely.
And when you actually then start talking to these billionaires, et cetera, you're like, oh, you guys are idiots. And you're also terrible people. So there's that. So,
and the strategy don't even be that difficult. It just requires you to like move. And they like, you know, and I think there's the environment right now where people are looking to get involved. People are looking to support things. They're looking for ways to get activated.
Yes.
And to be part of something revolutionary that is structured and organized. And labor, like, you're one of the last arms we have against this fascist regime. And you're on the fence. And the fact that you're on the fence is also how fascism continues.
Yep. Exactly.
To excel.
Because if you're not actively, ardently against it, you're for it. That's just what it is.
I love this. And it's a way to put your body on the line that doesn't physically cause you harm initially. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's the first act of like of an informal tactic, and then we can start going into like deeper, ways of resistance.
So speaking of resistance, the DC mayor don't know nothing about that. She don't know nothing about resistance, y'all. Okay. So Mayor Muriel Bowser, all right, has now said that she is down to clown with the head clown of them all, Donald Trump. She says that she has signed an order ensuring coordination with federal law enforcement during and after the presidential emergency. So the presidential emergency was the cock and bull lie that was presented to basically, what's what I'm looking for? To give validation for sending in National Guard, federal troops, etc., to federalizing the Washington Metropolitan Police in DC, occupying DC. They created this state of emergency because they said the crime was just so bad that they had to do it. For the record, the crime was bad, but it was actually better than it has been previously. I've seen a lot of people defending this by saying, well, you wouldn't know, you haven't had your family killed. And I just think those people are bots, because all the people I know that are really from DC who may have experienced crime, who have, family members, whether it's their cousin or their mother's cousin, being harmed, they're like, okay, but how about you put the money into the schools? How about you put the money into the resources? And the mayor's order dated on Tuesday outlined the role of the Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center. The
Love throwing around that beautiful word.
the SBEOC. Y'all, the center is responsible for managing the city's response to President Donald Trump's Safe and Beautiful Task. Like, are we in a film? Safe and Beautiful Task Force and his declaration of a crime emergency in the city. Your thoughts?
There's so many layers to this. It's comical, and it's also extremely heartbreaking and devastating that ultimately the effects of slavery are still deeply rooted in two types of different Black people. And that's what we're seeing. And what Mayor Bowser is doing ain't no different than the enslaved who was telling on those who were seeking freedom and liberation. It's no different.
What do you say to folks who are like, well, what do you expect her to do? DC is not a state in the same way that others are. She doesn't have power.
Yeah, I expect her to actually speak truth to power and use the numbers and rely on the story and the data and what we know to be true. We have clear examples with Mayor Brandon Scott in Baltimore, with Mayor Randall Woodfin in Birmingham, where we have seen huge reductions in violent crime in their cities. From investing in after school programs, from investing in recreational activities. So if crime is the issue, then there are clear cities who are showing what the real solution is. Speak to that. Speak to what Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago is doing. Speak to what even Karen Bass is attempting to do in LA. I know, sis. I know. She went out there. I'm not a fan.
Ain't doing a goddamn thing. Okay.
I just appreciate she went out there. She said, not my city. She put those hands up to the press.
And then she was like, in my city. Because they really in her city heavy. Like very much in your city, sis. Like all in your city. Because I haven't seen her since.
That's it. No, I saw her at one thing and it wasn't what it could have been.
I saw her at a play. I went to a play when I was in LA and she was in my row.
She went to a nonviolence resistance training with the California State Federation, Labor Federation.
I don't even like that. That offends me. because that's a
Yeah.
pointed, there's a pointed optic happening there. I'm at the nonviolent. Why aren't you at the gun range with everybody else?
Yeah, and see, I brought something up, and that's a whole other conversation because they
Well,
not
I heard
even
you
really
earlier when you said, we can start with putting our bodies on the line in a non-aggressive way, but and then we can discuss other ways.
Yeah, it's fascism, y'all. Like it's
And you're
gonna
in
be
San Diego,
uncomfortable.
which is literally a military base. Like
Military town, and only 6% of a Black community out here. Border town too. That's the other. We're a border town.
I mean, you're Mexico.
Yeah,
Like San
and
Diego
we
is
love
Mexico. It's really,
it.
it's like
And we love it.
Tijuana is like
Oh,
right there.
we go there for shopping. Like it's definitely the neighborhood, and we love it. And I think that's the other thing. That's what's really interesting about San Diego is we don't really, the white folks got a lot of anti-Blackness, but they love the immigrant community.
So you know what? She did say, I will give her saying this. She did say this is Bowser in DC. What has not worked during this period of time is ICE terrorizing communities, especially with masks and especially not having enough information about where people are. She similarly characterized National Guard troops on city streets as something that hasn't worked. So I do appreciate her actually saying that.
But it's not reflected in her actions now because she's creating this partnership where she's just going to criminalize. So it's what people love to do, which is put on a performance. And
that
this
Olay
performance
you just hit us with.
You brought it out of me. It's the entertainment segment of the show as well. But yeah, and I think to your point earlier too about like the world that we're living in, like we're in constant state of contradictions, constant state of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And at what, and I think what infuriates me more is like when the media will interview someone like Bowser and say, ask her questions that y'all already know the answer to.
This is why I don't this is why I decided I don't want to do mainstream media anymore. Because then when you come on and they ask questions that don't like when I went on, what's it called? The Weekend Prime on MSNBC. And when I did the appearance, it felt off. But then like a week later, I really was like, man, that was some BS because I did that whole, one Black radical versus 20 Black conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
And their questions they asked me 3 questions. The first question was, what made you go there knowing that it could go off the rails? I don't know what kind of question that is. The second one is, did you think it was a waste of time? And the third question was,
if it was a waste of time, you wouldn't have been there.
And the third question was, did any of them bring you closer to their point of view? Or
Amanda, I'm not doing this today.
Bye, Brisa.
Not closer to your point of view.
And that was from Amen. So I was like, what are you talking about? What?
It's because they thought you were a liberal.
It was just like, that's why I said, you know what, let me go and do other interviews with other people because I want to have conversations about this much further along in the conversation. And that's what you're talking about with these reporters and interviewers with these politicians. They just ask them questions that very much feel like they were given to them.
100%.
And I don't feel like they are speaking from the point of view of the people, in which case, what's the point?
Never. And they don't challenge what's being said. They don't challenge the lie. They don't challenge, even in this situation, you create this relationship agreement, right? With the federal agents. What's it look like in real time, ma'am? What does that look like for everyday people walking the street? What does that look like for everyday people going to work, for everyday people functioning? What does that look like in real time? Because it's going to look like what you're saying you're against.
Bowser said the center will describe how the federal government can assist the city. with the goal of reducing gun violence and violent crime. How do you reduce gun violence and violent crime? By providing more guns and a bunch of angry bullies who are carrying guns, because that's what the cops are. The order said that the SBEOC will communicate DC's request. So this is now a federalized city. I just want to make sure, like, not a federalized city. This is an occupied city. Literally what she's saying is she is no longer in any position. She's just taking notes from them. The order said the SBOC will communicate DC's request, such as asking federal law enforcement officials not to wear. So this is just bureaucracy. They created an agency when, mind you, you're the agency, you're the mayor.
Yep.
So they created an agency to speak on behalf of the mayor. And who is running the agency?
Yeah. And I think these are situations.
Say, well, she has no power. So what do you expect her to do? And I'm just like, but baby, if you have no power, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
At least read books to kids at the library with all this time.
And I don't have no power as a cop-out. Because I don't have no power as a cop-out because at the end of the day, you're still sharing their message. You're still using their language. You're still using, and ultimately you're dehumanizing people by continuing to criminalize them. Like this messaging of criminalizing and dehumanizing a community to make the strategy more acceptable or justifiable is not nothing new. We see it with Katrina, with ICE, in Gaza. It's the same blueprint time and time again.
Yes.
Like dehumanize the community that you want to target, criminalize their existence, and then use that narrative to justify the treatment. And she's literally just taking their language and regurgitating it. So let's say you have no power. Let's say you don't. It doesn't mean that you then accept the language. It doesn't mean that you then go on there and not create space for people to share what they really feel and then take their messages and their concerns to the table. You're not representing the people. That's your power. It's to just be the voice of the people at bare minimum. At bare minimum. Be the voice of the people. And you can't even do that. And I don't know why. I don't have a lot of grace for people in this season anymore. I think for too long we've been like, well, we got to give them grace. We don't know what they go through. Then maybe they shouldn't have run for mayor because they had no problem being loud and vocal when they needed votes. But now you can't be loud and vocal for the people now? I don't have grace for it. I don't. You put yourself in this position. This has been, you've seen what's been happening. You've had time to think what happens when it happens in the city. He's been targeting Black mayors. You live down the street. You think you weren't going to be next? So I don't have grace.
Down the street.
You live down the street. Like you are watching directly. We seeing it on the news. You outside, out your front door. So I don't have a lot of grace for the situation. And I hope that the people are going to challenge her and hold her accountable. And we really have to get out of this box of like protecting kinfolk from accountability. Like we really have to. Because this doesn't align with their ideologies. And there's still a lot of deprogram and decolonization of the mind that needs to happen in a lot of these officials. And being brown and in a position of power is not liberation. It's not. It is a crumb that we have thought has been moving us forward. And her statement shows us that we have not moved very far.
10 out of 10, no notes. This is an
example
of skin folk. This is an example of skin folk. 10 out of 10. No notes.
Yeah.
I'm
exhausted.
I would transcribe what you just said and assign it as a reading assignment on a syllabus.
And listen, and there's a lot of books that can speak to this in a much deeper, more intellectual way than I could. So
there's so much literature. There's so many folks that feel this way. Shout out to Bree Newsome, who's also one of the people who, like us, is just like, I don't got grace for y'all. I see y'all in the comments like they may have threatened her. Well, You know what's a great way? You know what's a great way to stay safe when they threaten you? Hey, y'all, they threaten me.
Get the people. Get the community.
They threaten me, y'all. That's what you're supposed to do. You supposed to. Hey, everybody, y'all listening? Them over there, them folks right there. They threaten me, y'all.
Yeah.
Them. That one. No, move. That one.
Yeah, but we've lost the art of community, but that's another segment another day. So, because like this constant need to move in isolation is also why she could so be easily targeted. But you're absolutely right. She could have put a call out. She could have been up front. Community would have showed out. Like people are, I mean, 80, what was it? It said something like 80% of folks in DC disagree. 80%? 80%?
Is 100%.
You can get 30% of that to turn out and it would be massive. Like that's ridiculous. 80% of people disapprove of what's happening. You have the people on your side. You don't believe in people power. And probably in a few weeks we'll see something.
Or you don't have a problem with what's happening.
Well, and that's the way.
There's always that, because ultimately a lot of these folks get in these positions because they want power and they want to be able to feel.
They want the title.
The title, because the whole thing about power is that, other people, different people relate it differently. The right title can just get you into the rooms you want to be in, or into the restaurants you want to be in, or get your kids into the school you want them to be in. And you fine with that. You don't actually want to have to like do anything,
Exactly. Yeah.
And
exactly.
This person, Zayoff, said it right here. She don't believe in the people. She believe in the system. There it is.
And unfortunately, too many of them still do.
Well, Brisa, thank you so much for joining us. Really.
Thank you so much for having me.
Such
an honor.
No, I'm really, and I got to send you a shirt. For the record,
I bought one.
You what?
I bought one.
You're the one person who bought. Okay, so listen, you bought that shirt, the Protect Amanda shirt?
Yeah, I bought one of her. No, not the Protect Amanda shirt. Oh, no. Okay.
I didn't sell them.
No, I didn't get that one.
Okay, I was like, wait, I couldn't sell them.
I got your word. Amanda knows everything, or Amanda was right.
Over everything. Amanda over
everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Which that aligns with what you are about. Yes, because no, I couldn't sell the shirts because it's your words. But I made one, and I
sell the shirt. I just gave you permission. Boom, sell it. It's yours. Just like that. 1000%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know how much free education and knowledge and lessons and deprogramming you've given me over the years? Ma'am, I have a where is this? I have a note. Hold on. New vocabulary Amanda Seals has taught me. Ma'am, I couldn't wait to use a cervix. I was so excited. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God!
Take it. I stand by you. I think you remind me of a real live example of when James Baldwin says, to be a conscious Black man in America is to be in a constant state of rage. You are the epitome and definition of that. And I understand it now. Like the more I read, the more I dive deeper into this work, I'm like, I get it. Like I get it. And I know that whatever other side doesn't get it yet, it feels personal. And I know that it's like that breaking of that programming has not happened. And you know that. And you continue to chip every day in any way you can at that wall.
I do.
When so many are just still, look at my new skincare line and look at my new
candles.
And I'm like,
look at my new candles. And I'm like,
they're tearing families apart. What are you doing?
I want you to know that I really deeply appreciate that. Thank you. Because I really just be in this house doing shit. I just be here by myself like, okay, so now what I need to do, you know what? I'm going to do a workshop on how to, okay, now, no, I'm gonna do a thing about the 10 Black Panther commandments. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
I get it. And look, and another time I'm going to need to sit with you and figure out your schedule because I don't know how you do it all. I don't. I'm trying to run this organization, write songs, and I'm like.
So yesterday, well, you have to add more time. Do you have kids?
I do.
Oh, that's why you can't do it all.
I do. I got two, a teenager and a toddler. They whooping my ass slowly.
Yeah, you can't do it all. So just let yourself go. Let that go. You just can't.
But like I'm even today, I'm supposed to make a video for the Black Worker Center. It's taken me 4 days to make this 60-second video, and I'm like, you also encouraged me to. You said, look, I just wake up and I do it. Stop trying to get cute for the camera. Stop trying to just record the video. And I was like, she's right. Just
the minute we get off of here, you better just don't even get up. Don't get up. Put your phone where you at. Don't get
absolutely right. Because it's taken me 3 days to make this 60-second video and it's due today.
You also need to just let yourself off the hook. You can't do everything. You have kids. You just can't do everything. It's not feasibly possible. I'm one person with no kids and I can't do everything. I had to get up at 6 a.m. No, 5:30 a.m. today to make up for what I didn't finish yesterday.
I get that. I know that's right.
So I'm sure your kids are like, Mom, you're doing great. I hope they are.
They are. They're great. They got an intentional mama. They so lucky. I can't wait till they get older and be like, damn, my mama was so... Yes, she was. Absolutely. You're very prepared for this world. You're welcome.
Now get them out there and be somebody.
I know. I appreciate you so very much, Miss Amanda.
I do as well. I appreciate you. Thank you for your work and your service, and do the video.
Absolutely. I will. And when you when you're ready to bring your show to San Diego, let me know.
I will.
We'll organize it. We got you.
I will. I mean, I'm putting out What Would the Ancestors Say? I'm dropping the actual script in November, and I'm going to do a live stream performance of it in LA. So maybe that is the time.
Bring it down to San Diego. We'll make it happen. You know they love you out here.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. No, I'm joking.
And by they, I mean me. It's me.
Ron Burgundy. My car got broken into last time I was in San Diego. So
I know.
But you know what? Side note, San Diego has the Palestine House, and shout to the homeboy Akram Ibrahim, who hit me while he was in Palestine. Ooh. And I met him because his mom runs the Palestine House, and he hit me from Palestine and was like, hey, do you want anything while I'm out here? I'm like, God dang. And the first time I ever had like Arab food outside of my stepmother was in San Diego. And boy, knafa?
Yeah.
Listen, you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. You as well.
AmandaLand.
Okay. Bye.
Amanda.